Sometimes when things go wrong, you can't blame life. Cause when you shot your shot, what was your aim like? What were you targeting? Cause if it ain't right, and you still go with it, then that is on you. It's on you, it's on you, it's on you.
What's going on, you guys? This is Romi Singer.
You might have to restart that because I said I think when you said what's going on.
I'm not restarting the episode, bro. We are keeping this.
Okay. If you are a first-time listener, thank you so much for stopping by. Here on the Mindset Rebooted podcast, we like to have conversations that help us to elevate the way we think.
And when you get value from this episode, share it with one person so it could help even more people.
Exactly. And today we are talking about how success is a collaborative effort. And so that means that it takes all hands to make things come together. That means that everyone in their own way, at their own level, is a leader. And we have to start seeing ourselves as that. And we need to understand what it is that we can be doing at our own level, no matter where we are in the leadership hierarchy.
You know how they say there's no I in team, but there is an I in leadership. I just made that up right now, but
okay.
So what that means is that I've grown as a leader when I started taking accountability of what I could do, what I could control, and take accountability of how I could help the other people in the team be better leaders themselves.
And so really, if you are someone who's at the bottom of the totem pole or top of the totem pole, let's start seeing even our other team members as having value and making sure that we think of ourselves as, hey, I am not just a random person here. What I do affects our overall team success. So for example, when I was in the military, we had a task, and it was to make sure that all of our programs were pretty much on track. That was because we had this big aviation maintenance inspection coming up. It's one of the biggest inspections that you could have, and it only happens like once every 2 or 3 years. A lot of times it's really to make sure that mission readiness is completely there, to make sure that things are just running smoothly, right? That's why you have inspections. But the point is that it was such a big inspection that was coming up that everyone was either nervous or certain people didn't really know what their roles were, and we were just figuring it out. But that's not really what you want to do. You want to be able to establish roles for everybody so that someone can completely take the helm of whatever it is that they're in charge of and be able to run with it and be as successful as they possibly can. And when you do that as a leader, when you explain to your junior troops, hey, this is what I need you to do, you also want to explain the impact that they're going to have when they do it. And you also want to make sure that you inspire a shared vision. That means we're going to collaborate together with coming up with our goals and objectives, because usually when people chime in on the overall goals and objectives for the mission, then what happens is there's more buy-in from that individual. They feel like, since I've contributed to coming up with our tasks and why we need to do these things, I feel like, man, this is something that really needs to be accomplished. Why? Because you want to see it be successful, because it's your idea. And so that's what I think we should be doing at all levels of leadership, collaborating, not just letting it just be the powers of be above, but all of us come together.
And I think it's very important, you touched on it, is to paint the picture for everyone. What is our goals and objectives for everyone? What you do impacts the picture this way. What I do impacts the picture this way. And I think when we identify those goals and objectives, we collaborate on how we want to accomplish those tasks. Now, like you said, everyone has buy-in into it. Everyone knows their role. And now what we could do, if I'm a junior level leadership, it's just a matter of, hey, let's hold ourselves accountable to a task that we set for ourselves.
Yeah, exactly. Like, junior level leadership is super important, right? Because you're closer to the ground, your boots on the ground, right? A lot of times the people who are up above, they're not seeing the day-to-day grind. And so as a junior leader, some of the things that you can be doing is coming up with a list of constraints. This is what we're facing, right? And this is what we need help on. Can you assist us with this? Romi, you're my peer. Hey bro, like, did you happen to jump on that? Do you need help with that? Because if you don't do that, like, hey, the rest of this is gonna happen to us and it's not gonna be good. We're holding each other accountable. We're telling each other what we need. We're throwing it up the pipeline like, hey, we have these constraints. These are all different things that you can do as a junior level leader.
Yes, so let's give an example for that. Say you're in a high school, there's 30 classrooms. Your job is to get all 30 classrooms to have a functioning work computer. On the junior level, we're getting all the equipment out there, everything ready to go, but we're missing all the power cables. That's our constraint. So we're gonna talk to other junior leaders. Hey, are you guys also missing power cables? What's going on here? And then we bring up, hey, the entire site's missing power cables. to the senior level leadership who could actually procure that for us. And so, again, as a junior level leadership, I feel like this is a tongue twister, by the way. Junior level leadership, junior level leadership, junior level leadership. As a junior level leadership, we are boots on the ground. We're getting the job done on site, but we're also identifying what's holding us back from accomplishing our goal. And we have to communicate that with the senior level leadership, which it's their job to identify what are the constraints of everyone so that we can move forward. If everyone's missing those power cables, we gotta go get them so that we can move forward. Remove the constraints so that our boots on the ground can move forward.
Oh yeah, and I love the fact that you brought that up, because now you're doing a couple things. One is showing that you're engaged, but two, now you're helping out the senior level leadership or mid-level to have lessons learned, right? Maybe someone dropped the ball. Well, clearly somebody dropped the ball. If everyone's missing the power cables.
Project manager.
Right. So now maybe they didn't account for those things when they were first doing this project. But now they're gonna know for the next time to make things more efficient, right? So these mistakes don't happen again, but that wouldn't have happened without your help. I've seen the other side of the coin happen, where people have identified that they were missing stuff, but they just never brought it up. They were like, well, that's their problem. That's not being a leader.
Exactly. So if I'm a boots on the ground and I identify, hey, we don't have any power cables, as a leader at that level, I need to make sure, hey, well, for us to succeed, we need those power cables. So I need to communicate that.
Yeah. Now let's flip it. If you're senior level leadership, you are a bad leader if after the constraints have been brought up, you do nothing. Like, what are you good for? You have the power to be able to affect change, but when you ignore your team, now you're doing something that's actually discouraging. They're gonna feel like, okay, well, what's the point of taking the initiative? What's the point of doing our jobs if the people that are supposed to be modeling the way for us aren't doing an effective job either? So senior level leadership, to whom much is given, much is required. You have to be able to answer those constraints, and you also need to be forward thinking. Like, where people are doing boots on the ground type of action, senior level leadership should always be thinking ahead. What's the next thing that I can do to make it easier for the junior level people to do their job more efficiently and effectively? That's what you should be doing as a senior level leader.
I think on top of, forecasting what obstacles they'll have, it's also realizing that if you are not taking care of those constraints that everyone's bringing up to you, you're gonna be betrayed. You're gonna be betrayed by the lower level or the junior level leadership and their team, because they're gonna start looking for the leadership that could help them. They're gonna start talking to other people. You're like, hey, why are you talking to him or her? I'm your direct line of hierarchy. You should be talking to me. Well, it's because you're not reliable. And when you're not reliable, it goes up and down the chain. Everyone's gonna hear about it, and your position may be compromised.
Yeah. And one thing that we didn't touch on is mid-level leadership, right?
Yes.
So what can mid-level leadership do? I like to think of mid-level leadership as a bridge between senior and junior, right? And that's a great position to be in. It comes with a lot of responsibility, but it's great because you're able to hear the concerns of junior level leadership, and you're able to filter, and you're able to then have communication both ways, up and down the chain. You are that person who is literally the middleman, essentially, is what I think of the mid-level leadership as. And you also have the ability to inspire and motivate junior level leadership, right? Because they're reporting to you, and when things are getting tough, although you may not have the power that senior level leadership has, what you do have is the voice. You have the ability to say, hey guys, I've been where you've been before, and this is what I've done to get through it. These are my experiences. And you're able to set the tone, help foster a culture that buys into the overall mission, as opposed to the one that says, you know what, what's the use? Screw this, everybody sucks. So you have a huge role in doing that. And so as a mid-level leadership, please take that role seriously, because the company really runs with you.
So I'm just gonna do a quick recap. There is no I in team, but there is an I in leadership. So let's take accountability for what we can control so that we can all succeed at all of our levels.
This has been a great conversation. Please make sure you share this with someone else so that they can also learn what it means to take control as a leader at their level. Mindset Rebooted.
Sometimes when things go wrong, you can't blame life. Cause when you shot your shot, what was your aim like? What were you targeting? Cause if it ain't right and you still go with it, then that is on you.